Financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Franti.
Well, here you are at the second half of the Don Gino Real Estate and Finance Show every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on the don&gino radio
Don
show.
Gino.
You're doing good today, Don.
I know. It's
That's
a new,
what you
it's
get
a new
for
car coming out.
That's what you get for making fun of my southern draw.
I was still laughing at you, by the way, Mr. Southern Draw.
I know.
You know, Ham Scouting Poet.
Home scouting. Yeah.
All right, we have one of our favorite guests here, but we'd love you to join us here in the studio because we take the time and energy thanks to AP Productions. We got Jennifer in the back helping run the boards and 3 HD cameras so you can actually watch what's going on, and then we record it, put it on YouTube channel. We have over 1,500 videos now.
You said creeping on 2,000, though, earlier.
Well, we have 500 from the National Real Estate Cafe.
That's right.
So between the two, we got a lot of YouTube videos out there. So go to donandgino.com, donandgino.com. Click on the live stream button. We'll allow you to see our very handsome guest who's been on here many and many times.
Thank you.
Our inspiration to get back in shape. And our whole office now, we have like 7 of us, I think, part of Afterburner Fitness. And started with this man, Mr. Chris Ingram, and Mr. Olympia.
Thank you.
We watch him and go, I want to look like that. And I still say that.
Right. Yeah. 4 years later.
4 years later, I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to look like that. But he's inspired all of us. But also, he's become a great friend and a great confidant and a partner in as a resource for us, for all our clients. And it's been great getting to know Chris, and it's really helped Gino and I get more involved in the whole investment strategy portion, because a lot of us put our money in 401k and forget it's there and just go on putting it in. But it's really nice is when you involve someone like Chris. Chris is connected to the current market and what's going on in the markets, and helps you with those emotions that that are involved with investing. And Chris helps us out with that. So today we thought we'd bring Chris in because there's, I don't know, some major thing that just happened the last 2 weeks that might affect the markets.
Yeah, so as Chris came in, I called it the Trump effect.
Right.
And so I'd like to discuss that a little bit and what he saw prior to the election, post the election, and we'll let him borrow our crystal ball here so he could tell us what's going to come next.
Yeah, no
It's
doubt.
convenient that you have that here, actually.
And it's not very cloudy. It's actually worked pretty well over the years.
It's pretty clear.
Yeah, overall, it's been good.
Actually, it's funny. Let's start on that, Chris, because this is something all of you should understand of why you want to work with a professional. I'm not kidding. When you see those people on TV, you go, they're so smart. No, they just know their darn job. Just like Gino and I can tell you anything regarding real estate, and Gino can too, across the entire nation. And we can tell you every financial facet of what's going on in the nation. We understand it. We know how it affects the markets and when it moves and when it goes away from trends. And Chris does the same thing. He watches trends. Therefore, trend is your friend. And when it bucks the system, then you go, oh, this is one of those markers that tells you when to buy or sell or not, or not to get emotional. Am I right?
Right, 100%.
And how hard is it in your business? Your business is one of the most counterintuitive businesses in the world. You've got to, what is it, buy the rumor, sell the news?
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And I like that, Gino. Nice.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with real estate. I mean, you had to buy real estate when it was trash, when it was the worst thing on the planet, when it was completely toxic. That's the good time to buy.
Yeah,
Right.
when we called it 6 months before Warren Buffett did.
Yeah, he was actually buying a lot, just not telling anyone.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and it gets more complicated, though, because you say buy the rumor, sell the news, and then everyone says buy low and sell high. And then just when you think you've got it all figured out, somebody says, well, what about buy high and sell higher? Because,
Right.
there's times
heard
when
that.
You can
need
do
to
that now.
as
It
well.
actually that passed here in California.
It did. That's true.
And we're growing it in Yakima.
So you can buy high and
That's why I've been there 100 times.
buy higher.
So
Sorry, that was just
that's
too
okay.
easy.
Yeah, you took it and ran with it. That's good. Yeah. So let's talk about the Trump effect. I think that's what we're going to focus on a little bit today. And a couple of things became very clear to me, or it reminded me of things that I talk about a lot through this process. And so you have, leading up to the election, you had everybody talking, all the talking heads on TV, analysts, everybody was saying it was pretty clear cut. If Hillary became the next president, it was business as usual and the market was going to do just fine. And if Trump became the next president, it was the unknown factor and that the market was going to drop. And so everybody pretty much across the board was banking on that being the results of the election.
I can tell you the golf course talk was, I'm getting into cash before the election because I don't trust this situation.
Which is the conversation I had with several people was, which way is the election going to go? Should I move to cash? Should I get out altogether? Should I
move to Canada?
Should I move to Canada? All those kinds of things. And so you're having these discussions, first of all, now trying to predict an election, which is very, very difficult to do. Impossible, obviously, because
More
most
so
people,
than ever now.
yeah, most people would have thought that Hillary was going to become the next president, and most people were surprised that Trump won the election. So,
including Hillary.
And I mean, maybe even including Trump.
Yeah.
And so if you try and make those early decisions, that rumor, you might get yourself into trouble because you cashed out or you bought in or you did the wrong move based on what you thought was going to happen with the election. And so it goes back to what I say time and time again, trying to base your investment decisions, which are ultimately for the goal of probably retirement or your kid's college education or something that's going to happen 20, 30 years from now, and thinking about what is going to happen over the next 30 to 60 days and making your investment decisions solely based on that information is very, very difficult and pretty much impossible.
Right.
And now you're playing a game of market timing, and it becomes very, very difficult. And you're going to get it wrong a lot, which is unfortunate.
I think
people
that's
are going to make
called
bad
gambling.
decisions. Yeah, it is. It's Vegas, and it's not what I do for my clients. And so
Right.
that's what I have to do is hold hands and remind people to make good long-term decisions and not think about these short-term events. But at the same time, also remind them that the market has a funny way of reminding even the best and the brightest that they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And that's why they
The
make their
election
decisions.
proved that. You had everybody saying they knew what was going to happen.
Well, and that's what I'm telling clients is look at what everybody was saying on television. Some of these people that you respect were on television telling you what was going to happen, and they were all wrong. And it just proves once again that they don't know. So even with their investments, they may be giving you advice on TV saying, buy this, sell that, do this, do that. But the reality of the situation is that they're basing their decisions on a much longer term solution or strategy, and they're not so focused on what is going to happen over that short term. Otherwise, they'd be losing their shorts time and time again, just like everybody else. So,
well, we can support. I mean, usually G and I sit here for the last 6 years now, almost bragging about that. We pretty much know what's going on. We watch the markets pretty well and can predict it 95% of the time. But that 5% or 10% that you miss it, that when something changes, we got caught with our pants down a little bit on this because everybody said that if Trump got elected, that the bond market's going to rally, meaning interest rates are going to go down because everybody's going to bail out of the stock market. So what was even worse is that night, we're at a softball game together, high-fiving because it looked like Trump was going to win. The stock market was down 800, which we'll talk about, of course, because I know you got phone calls.
Yep.
Right.
Stock market down 800, which means they're getting futures.
Yep.
So potential stock market is switch, meaning people are bailing out, it looked like, which means they're going to put money into bonds, which lowers interest rates. So we're literally high-fiving going, woo, refinance, boom, we're going to be able to lower the interest rates for our clients, yay!
Yeah, we were going to have to double our staff is what we went to sleep thinking about.
Yeah, we're just excited, and then we go to bed like, la, 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 woo, this is so good, sweet dreams. Woke up going, what in the...
Yeah,
don't even
rude
know what to
awakening.
say.
We saw the bond market meltdown, the stock market rally, completely the opposite of what everybody had said was going to happen. And quite frankly, had a large impact in what we do. Have a 0.25% rise to interest rates in one day is significant. We've seen it, maybe 4 or 5 times in my career, maybe 10 in yours. It's a rarity. It does happen, but it's a rarity.
0.5% in a little over a week is like one of the biggest changes. What, in 7-8 years? You think, Kathy? Kathy's still in the house here. Yeah, something like that. It was pretty major.
Well, and it's great to hear you guys were high-fiving that night because I was living the exact opposite of that. So I actually text messaged the other advisor in my office, and we were, consoling each other. And I text messaged my assistant and said, I'm not even coming in tomorrow. You can just...
Wait, I want to save this. I'm going to save this
is
for our
good
next
stuff. This is
segment
good
because
stuff.
you're going to want to stay tuned because oftentimes you don't hear about what goes
This
on
is
behind the
backroom
scenes.
talk here,
So
yeah.
when the futures are down 800, let's talk to a financial advisor that goes, let's see what his phone calls are like. When we come back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show, you're going to learn so much and be entertained. Thanks to Chris Ingram with Ingram Financial Solutions and the Trump Effect.